Shalom, family. Glory be to God. Blessed be the Lamb. Let's hop right into it. Try to move this one along as quickly as we can. Politics is interesting. Politics, the word meaning, the art and science of government. That's what politics, by the definition, is. The art and science of government. That's how government functions. I don't actually like the definition, but I can clearly see it. It is both an art form and a science. Both of them, one of them is based on the theory, that the other based on image, aesthetics. What a strange definition, huh? At least that's how I would understand it when the definition is broke down and each word is going by its very definition. The art and science of government. But you seem heavily involved in it. Everything has become political. I had never thought that I would see the types of people involved in politics that I'm seeing now at one level or the other, either trying to influence, control, to control the narrative, or one angle or the other. It's all politics. Politics, and you are heavily involved in it. You know, but what's amazing is that your politics seemingly has limitations. It has limitations that you don't want to entertain. You simply don't want to entertain them. Politics is a game of influence. Would it not? I mean, is it not? It's a game of influence. It's a game of who can spread whose message the fastest and the widest. Is that not the game? Billions of dollars are spent every campaign cycle on this very effort, spreading a message far and wide. Would I be incorrect? I tried to do this the right way. Superficially, at the very least, I called myself running for office, U.S. Congress, District 18. I found out quickly how the game was rigged. You won't even get off the ground. You won't even get off the ground because, again, it's a game of money, of spreading messages far and wide, and one's influence and donors and who likes you, who doesn't, who disagrees with you, how you look, how you dress, even if you have dreadlocks or not. All of this comes into play as it shouldn't, but it does. The point being, we tried this the easy way, and every way you could avoid it, you did. So now we're doing it a different way, but it's still political. There is agendas. There are platforms. There are issues. None of them which you don't you as a people or the government or as the electorate at large actually want to deal with. You don't. And so you cry and you squeal and you threaten and you make all types of movements in trying to stop what is quite honestly a political move. Maybe what you resent is that I'm not using money. Let me repeat that. Maybe what you resent is that I have risen above money. I can be bought. I can be sold. I don't need money for broadcasts. I don't need money for marketing. I don't need money for influence and to pay off others and to grease palms. See, I don't need that. But it is the equivalent of what you do with money. Hence, I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem at all, unless the problem is not one. Dang. Unless the problem is not one of politics, but one of something else. Maybe spirit. Maybe spirit. But before we go there, you know, it would be detrimental to both the Republicans as well as the Democrats. This political move by myself, by myself. Clearly, it has become obvious at what I'm doing. As to what I'm doing, it's become obvious. If you can't see the pattern now, then you simply don't want to see it. That's as crazy as being a broke ass political pundit in this environment. You can't explain it. You must be lazy. You must be lazy because this political environment is a gift to all of the pundits, opinion writers, editorialists, analysts. It is a buffet. You can't lose here. But that's a horse of a different color. What is the problem? This is politics. This is politics. You call each other's names every day out loud. But for you to feign me as being a nobody, you put a awful lot of effort into trying to prevent me from engaging in the same rhetoric in which I don't engage in. But you do. You do. How do you how do you explain that? How do you explain that? No one interferes with your donations and your abilities to make campaign ads with other people's money that you will surely be elected by and then owe favors and which you will surely deliver on, as we see at the federal level now. They've even turned the blades on the president, not just a Democratic. Oh boy, not just a Democratic of the party, but some of the Republican parties as well, in the name of a foreign nation and more war. What would be the anti of that? Anti-government, anti-war, anti-Semitic. What would it be? Anti-American. I'm sure that it fits into some kind of anti category. But back to what I was saying, what exactly is the problem here? We all knew that this would be a big pill for you to swallow. Big, big. It looks like veterinary medicine for horses. It's big. But I didn't recognize, are you that fragile politically? Are you that fragile that you can be vetted by, and maybe that's the wrong word. I mean, that's a little arrogant of me, as particularly coming from the position of an impoverished black man. That has to be some type of arrogance. However, there is a such thing as the arrogance of the poor. There are certain things that I just will not do that people who have money will do. It causes a certain type of arrogance when it's based on righteous indignation. Anyway, politically, there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. So it can't be that. It can't be that. I just recommended this to a younger group of Americans earlier. Push. Don't just get mad. And yet, you have a problem with me, the impoverished black man who has nothing. Pretty much nothing. It begs the question. How are you respecting a black man who has absolutely nothing while at the same time acting as though he is absolutely nothing? How do you explain that? You can't, can you? Not without being honest, not without being a truth teller, which you seem to have an aversion to. You seek to have it both ways. You know exactly who I am. You you know beyond a shadow of a doubt who I am and how we got here. Yet here we are with you doing more of the same mechanics, all utilizing the same thought processes that got us here. Think about that. So, what do you propose? Seems to me that the only way out of this, according to your brain, is to stop me from speaking, stop me from communicating. How, how do you propose to do that? You offer absolutely nothing. You offer nothing, yet yet you want something worth millions and millions of dollars to sell, to self-contain, to self-contain. For what purpose would that entity do that? What purpose? What what I mean, every living organism does things to its advantage. Okay? So what advantage would this organism have for shutting itself down? Hypothetically. Hypothetically. You offer nothing. And in fact, you show just the opposite of offering anything. And yet you want silence as you somehow have the ability to control me. You don't. Nothing on this planet does. Nothing on this rock does. You have the options of bullets and bombs. But that one even comes with a twist. But politically, what would be my agenda? It would be reparations. It would be an hate crimes bill, one enforceable by the penalty of law. Secondarily, it would be self-determination. As a handmaiden to that, it would be separation. This would be the agenda, step by step, step by step. This is what it is. I'm not I'm not actually in your way. You're in mine. You're in mine. This is your government and this is your process. Yet you would deny, like you always have, equal access to it as you would other Americans, provided that they have connections and money, and most of them have engaged in some of the most vilest acts available just to seal the deal. Well, you won't be getting that out of me. You will be getting me, nothing more than that. But let's take a look at this, though. And this has nothing. This has to do with biblical writings, biblical understandings that seemingly I have jumped right off the pages of Revelation and right into your lives. Go read it. It all adds up now, doesn't it? Side note, I don't know why I don't hate. I should have been a learn. I should have. I should have learned how to hate like you a long time ago, but yet I haven't arrived there. It's the last human emotion that I haven't experienced. I've experienced everything else, all of it. You, love, fear, trepidation, sadness, depression. The list is long. Anyway, every sense God has given man has been assaulted at one stage or the other. Assaulted. But self-determination, it Has it not become crystal clear that you're no longer able to make decisions in the best interest of the country? If you include foundational Black Americans as a part of the country, then there is no way you can say that you are capable of making or should be trusted to make further decisions within their lives. No one would actually believe that. No one, no one would actually believe that. You dress us up in clown suits. Example: there's a lady running for office in a predominantly Black district. Her herself being white. She she supports genocide within Gaza and the continuation of war and things like this. You think the majority of the people in her district supports that? Absolutely not. Yet there she is, and she doesn't even live there. Atrocious, isn't it? And she doesn't even live there. Yet there she is. So quasi seemingly supported by the CBC, because they have not said a word while at the same time assaulting or rather assailing the the Republicans for getting rid of Black voting districts, while at the same time seemingly supporting this one over here. Hypocritical at best. They speak out of both sides of their mouths. Overall, I've always said from the beginning, as far as institutions go, they cannot be reformed. Institutions cannot be reformed. You know why? They they recycle themselves. They started with one group of people. Unless all of those other people die at the same time, then those people's thoughts, as they move on one by one, their thoughts and influences remain in that institution, whether they're still working there or not. And they're moved along generationally. Hence, things like institutional racism. You don't have to create it, it's there because it was always there. And because no one could figure out a way to stop it, it has remained. So we have arrived at the conclusion that you are not capable or the citizens of America and doing the right thing vis-a-vis Black people. By no means. By no means. Yet you insist that you continue to have some kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Standing. Justicable standing in the lives of what you would term African Americans are Black, but I'm being a little bit more specific. Foundational Black Americans, for reasons that I won't be going into tonight. But it will still fall under the guise of the political. You can't stop what has begun. This is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's already begun, just as separation is going to happen. We don't really care. We don't think you're capable of bringing forth a hate crimes bill, though. We just don't think you're capable of it as a society. Not today and not in 15 years. You are too heavily invested in the status quo that must be maintained at all cost. It's the politics of it. It's the socio-politics of it. Hate crimes bill? No. Reparations. Even as I speak, the debt multiplies. If this was a legal situation, it would be tolling. It would be gaining interest, even as it sits still. None of the None of the characteristics of the Jim Crow South has ever went anywhere. They are as as grounded in Southern society as apple pie and Thanksgiving and fishing and pickup trucks. See? And everybody knows it. Everyone knows it. You've managed to get by with it. You've managed to get by with it basically by avoiding the black voice. You simply don't have to listen because they don't have the reach and they don't have the power, and you can select from amongst them who will not harm you or the status quo. Well, you can fight for that. That's fair. That is fair. This is politics. You can fight for that politically. The maintenance of the status quo in the South. But you cannot stop what actually stands against it. You can't stop the effort, I would say. You can fight it. But we both know this is a losing battle. People want what they want, and you seek to deny them. I give them truth. I give them hope. I give them faith. What do you give them? What do you give them? Both parties, poverty, inflation, a upper crust of American life that really hates everything below it, and who have engaged in every vile thing you can think of, including cannibalism. And man, this stranger on YouTube, they have you, they have you guys, YouTubers. Man, we're gonna have to push. You can't even use the word sexual anymore. You can't say sexual assault. Wow, these people are busy, 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 busy. I heard a guy spell it today. So you can't say sexual assault. Oh man, goodness gracious. Anyway, it has become increasingly clear that you're not going to do this. That you would fight every step of the way, and the face of it is still happening today. This is why I said that the situation would be totaling. It should be gaining interest because every day there's an assault on what you would think of as black sensibilities. I mean, 1960s style. It's kind of funny to watch it. This is why I say it. Even the political satirists can make money in an environment like this. I mean, it's the political silly season. The political silly season, and the world seemingly is moving forward, and the United States is moving backwards. It's moving backwards. It's, it's trying to solidify what was as if time stopped. And I had so much hope um in in the terms of depth when they said the great reset. I didn't realize it was something as simple as resetting it to a time that they felt this country was great. And then I looked at at the demographics of those who may think like that, and most of them are men 50 and under. What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? When the hell were you born in the 80s? Shit. It wasn't great then. It was full of, oh, it was fun. And things were easier, mind you, but great? Come on. Come on. Shall we go down the list of bad 80s ideas? Anyway, but the 80s was great. But that's not what you're talking about. My point is, there's never been a time in Black life that this country has been great, and it's not gonna be. That's why we have insisted that we separate. And everything, everything we do here is spiritual. The separation will happen, not just amongst the black people, but amongst the Gentile. 1/3 of black people, so called, will be separated from the 2/3. God knows how many. I can't just put even a ballpark number on how many Gentiles. I tried, but it's hard. They keep jumping ship and then climbing back on the ship, and then I don't know what's going on with them, but it's a lot of them. Though that is not negotiable. It's not negotiable at all. We don't care what you think as a Republican or what you think as a Democrat. Seemingly, I would fall somewhere in between being a hybrid. I mean, I would be somehow a hybrid. I am I'm part Democrat and part Republican, but stronger than both, and that I can be bought. And I'm going to just tell the truth, irrespective of the so-called politics. I didn't make the truth. I make my own truth, and you make your own truth. Everybody makes their own fucking truth. But anyway, that's besides important. That's slipping into some philosophical shit. And I'm not trying to be philosophical. I'm trying to be political so we can gain some understanding here. Okay? I'm not running for office. You are. If you don't represent us, then you don't represent us. And I do. And that would be a point of order, as a matter of fact. I do. You have 60 years of black people being there, and we still running the same numbers. 30% here, 30% there, consistent since the Jim Crow South. Consistent. Hence, a virtual plantation. I could go down the list, but I won't here. And then we're looking as voting rights are being, wow, gutted. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Do not take my stance on the voting rights one way or the other, because voting rights have never served us. And see, I had told some friends about 7 or 8 years ago that there was no viable political path into reparations, and they got kind of downsided, you know. But they didn't let me finish. When there's no political path, then you simply create the political path, as we have done here. As we have done here, it happens every 4 years, every 2 years, what you call the election cycle, and you pay good money for it. So I ask again, what exactly is the problem here? Is it spiritual? You think I have an advantage? Yes, it is unfair. Well, then you should say so, but you should say so with words and not sirens and horns. State your case. State your case. But in doing so, you will also be acknowledging who and what I am. There's no way out of it. You will have to call me something, and it won't remain Mr. Barnes, will it? It won't remain Mr. Barnes, because humans don't have these abilities. Now, do they? Putting you in a strange situation, a strange situation. So, have you made politics even of your beliefs? Have you mixed your beliefs with your politics? The short answer is yes, for the most part. Yes, yes, and yes. It's actually where they shouldn't be, but that's where they are. So those are the rules. You have mixed your beliefs, as in, as in, I believe that that the American government is one big cult. Hence your individual beliefs and other gods outside of the Creator. And yet you have taken political positions in terms of power and in terms of seats. I don't besmirch you, but let's leave it like it is. That's the standard. I I too believe in something. I too believe in a God. Again, I don't see what the problem is. This is political mixed with spiritual, and you already done it. And on a governmental level, you long ago poo-pooed the separation of church and state. A long time ago, the churches became 501c3s, making them businesses, money-raising operations. See? And they represent not God, but the system that you believe in with all of your separate gods. So, I mean, if we're just being frank, and this is what you fear. This is what you fear. You know that it's okay to say that I believe in this God or that God or this God or that God, right? In this debased country, you would get away with it. It's not a big deal. Hence, my understanding is a little bit off because I seem to think in a straight line. 1 + 1 will always equal 2. But that don't seemingly, that's not the formula here. That's not the formula. And you're confused. I'm not. You are confused, driven. It's just politics. Don't you believe in your own argument and your own positions? Are they that weak? Don't you have support, not just in staff and money raising ability, but with people who support you by the tens of thousands at the very least, all the way up to the millions. And yet you show weakness here. You're strange. Or I and you have juxtaposed the whole situation. You are the weak one and I am the strong one. I mean, you as a collective, the entirety of government in this country, you are weak, not me, but you seek to create the image of power. You seek to create the image of being able to control the narrative. And you can't. The narrative is already written and it won't be stopped. It won't be curtailed and it won't be altered. And it's not going to go any other way except as written. Let me make something else clear about how a spiritual game is played from our side. Consider, God has a chessboard. He makes a move. I have a chessboard. I will make a move according to his move. It won't exactly be the same move because his chessboard is much bigger than mine's. Okay? But I will see his move. I will see the word written, and then I will make a move on that board corresponding to his move. And then you will also make a move on a smaller board. That which you believe in. If you believe in it enough, then you will be making a move for that entity. Again, we see no problem with any of this. We just don't understand your angst, your anxiety about the situation. This is a country of ideas and arguments, is it not? Ideas and arguments. At least that's how I was raised, as, especially on university campuses. Ideas and arguments often are brought forth and they're fleshed out. It's never to take in one side or the other to silence the other. It's taking a lack of support, not an intentional silencing, a lack of support of the people around them on the university, in on the campus. See, in the dining halls, in the gathering spaces. You have elected another route, but the people and I have not. I have not. You know, we knew that that this country's politics is played this way. The pendulum will swing to the left, and then everything that it has passed by, as it hangs in the air, they will build buildings, make policy, change direction, create war, pass laws, create committees, spend money, so on and so forth. But but sooner or later, that pendulum lets go, and now it swings to the right, and everything built on the track of that pendulum will be hit, whether it survives or not. It will be hit. It's the ebb and flow of American politics. Okay, it, it's just the ebb and flow. And what do we fight for? We, meaning source. I fight for freedom, freedom for the people. I would like all of, like all of the power to forever be in the hands of the people. You have built a system institutionally and by terms of buildings. Well, it's too bad everything has to be burned, but the truth of the matter is everything in Washington is kind of built in a Satanistic manner. So it may have to be burned. But you built the buildings and you built the institutions. They're infested. They don't function as they were meant to. Not your law, not even at the constitutional level, not your federal government, not your accounting, not your politics, not your decisions. No. And while all of this is going on, you have been subverted by other forces, shall we say? Other forces. No more evident is this than today. Parties unique to a conflict, two sovereigns come to a understanding, a quasi understanding on the beginnings of peace. And what happens? A foreign nation state gets involved and they can alter the will of the American people. I'm going to be nicer tonight, but in the future, those type of moves are attackable by name, and then you lose. Then you lose. You are there because of your lack of reach when there's scandal. Like no one talks about certain files, or no one talks about each other and scandals. But when you want to, you can reach as many as money will buy. Like I used the word earlier, hypocrites, profound hypocrites. And we don't have a political problem. You you have a political problem. Prophecy will be fulfilled. I'm trying to do this the nice way. I really am. But I'm really trying to do this the nice way. You know, I was thinking to myself earlier, at this point, I mean, this is just me musing to myself. Don't put too much into it. I have grown so much that if I ran against any of you, I think that I would win without black support. I would tell black people to just sit this one out. This one is going to have to be one of those things where the American people speak loudly, loudly. Okay, and I think that's possible. Don't you start to believe it though. Don't you start to believe it. But I think it's possible. I think it's possible at that point. I mean, at this point. So what does that tell you? That I know my reach is vast. I know that everyone likes justice and to be treated fairly. See, I know what poverty is. I know what pain and misery is. I know what outside is. I know what suffering is. I know what transgression against one and one's own transgressions are. You know none of these things because largely you don't have to. But that's a more philosophical shit. It's down the rabbit's hole in terms of understanding. But like I said, you've made everything politics. As I speak, the same people seek to organize a movement uh, against the truth. They brag about their, or they brag about their, they brag about their network of organizations and their vast reach and their money. And I've seen them use it time and time and time. Like I said, it looks like a spider web once you know what you're looking at. It looks like a spider web. Better yet, a inverted type of triangle with power dispersed downward. Anyway, it looks mighty upon first blush. It's not mighty, not even close. It's just no one have known how to really attack it until now. Until now. But anyway, politics. Where do we stand? I stand on reparations. I stand on self-determination for all people, but most importantly, Black people, specifically foundational Black Americans, but generally all Black people. All of us have had your boot on our neck at one time or the other. I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about Western governments utilizing white hands and white feet and white trigger fingers. You see, it's all the same to me. You could have been blue. It would have been the same thing. I'm still going to want to shoot you back. You could have showed up as Bigfoot. I'm going to want to shoot you back still. At any rate, it's just politics. And I don't mean to make this small. I said before, God has his own agenda. He has his agenda. His agenda is thousands of years old. And if I may be frank, it is my fault that as a collective, you did exactly every word that he had already wrote, and you knew that these words were written, and somehow you still end up doing them. Can you explain that? How do you know the the enemy, the game plan, the enemy strategy, and still to do the very things and become the very things that he said you would, that would bring on the second part of his strategy? How do you explain that? How do you explain that? It seems to me that you are your own worst enemy. The olive branches have been extended. Peace offerings have been extended. Every opportunity to put skin in the game or show an act of good faith have has been shown. To the point now, though, I can see that it's bigger than you. What with the assault on Black voting rights and other rights that's going on right now, none of them even stand up to say anything about Black people getting sued for helping each other. I mean, you are so deep into Black life. You're so deep into Black life. Yet you claim that, Okay, we're going to stop there because, again, this is a different type of a conversation. I don't want to be condescending. Not on this one. I want to understand you. It is you who write your own story. It's me who write my own story. I have withstood attack after attack after attack after attack from you. Okay? And we have entered the political silly season. And I mean silly season. Okay? Where people are just saying and doing, man, they are doing anything to either gain some seat or to maintain a seat. It's like Pontius Pilate said when he met Jesus, and he was talking to one of his council, and he said, one of the council asked, as a Roman, what do we see wrong with this guy Jesus? And Pontius, him being the judge, he said absolutely nothing. He's he's one of the most eloquent men and balanced and straight men I've ever met. I can find no fault in him. None. What is the hoorah-rah then? What are they angry at? Well, we arrive here today now. And just like other Pontius said, some of them would just as well sell their own mothers for a seat at council's table. Yeah, that's what Pontius Pilate said. It's in the Bible. They would sell their mother for a seat at council's table, at the king's table, to work as king's counsel or anything else, just as it was then it is now. Just as in the days of, of Noah, it is now. And again, I don't see an issue. You are the ones who have maneuvered yourselves into looking like you are the inhabitants that were alive and at some previous point being the days of Noah. You do the same thing today. But anyway, if I had arguments with the Republicans, and I do, they will be stated. If I have problems with the Democrats, and I do, they will be stated. Now, with the last 10 minutes, I'm going to explain something. You may ask yourselves, why is he so hard on the Democrat? Why? Well, because I've been your victim. We've been your victim. I have personally been your victim. You know, in the terms of your networking and your reach. I mean, I would have never have thought that a party had this kind of reach and was willing to go this far. Okay, but yet you did. Yet you did. You seen a threat. You seen the weakness of the threat, and then you attacked. Except the weakness of the threat was camouflage that you fell for. That you fell for. Okay, you fell for it. Know how you fell for it? Because I had watched you a long time. A longer time. You only attack the weak or the powerless or the vulnerable. So what was my strategy? To make myself look weak and powerless and vulnerable. And then you came. And then you came like the wolf you are. You came like the wolf you are. But I don't want you to think that this is so personal that it transcends the political issues. They don't. They don't. Not even close. The political issues are, as Democrats, black people, so-called African Americans, so-called LPA, so-called have voted for the last 60 years almost exclusively Democrat, and they have received not a iota of return on 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 those votes. Now I use the term black conservatively because you seem to like the word. I don't like the word, just like I would not like the word Latino or Asian or AAPI. It's too over encompassing. Why do people have to be grouped up into these types of groups where there's 50 different personalities, 50 different beliefs within each group, and then you still call them all of what? They can't be the same thing, except biologically. Anyway, that entire statement was an act of redundancy. Anyway, politics. We meaning they have voted 60 years, 60 plus years. And what have we gotten? I'll wait. Nothing. We've gotten harmed. Every generation harmed a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, till the final one where the last president said we have to tighten our belts. Well, we don't know we can't. We're gonna be walking with our pants falling down. Then we've lost all of our weight from decade after decade after decade after decade of sociological and political assault by the political establishment. This is without question. Without a question. Even now, we watch the hypocrisy of you denouncing the gutting of black power by looking away due to party as the very same thing is being threatened within party lines. Hypocritical. You stand for things that we don't stand for. You raise your hand. Oh, goodness gracious. It's lucky for us both. I don't have time to get to the CBC, Congressional Black Caucus, and the connections between them and the movements of the NAACP. You lucky. I don't have time tonight. The National Urban League, any of these organizations that we thought for 70, 80 years actually represented us. Turns out they never have. They never have. And I didn't know this until the late 90s. Late 90s. Why didn't I know this? Why hadn't someone told the truth before now? And now the truth has become toxic. The truth has become dangerous. And you have become dangerous as a party. You have made it evidently clear that you would just as soon harm us. Not that it matters if you are in power or the Republicans are, the harm remains consistent. But that's not the point. This is a more, this is more of a principled position. Okay? You say openly that you're not going to help them. You say this, even though as a racial group, when the entire Democratic Party is made up of nothing but groups, titled, labeled, selected, policies passed, laws passed by group, by race. And yet when it comes to black people, quote unquote, you can't find the same fervor. Which, don't misunderstand me again, I don't care. I don't care. We want what we want, and by we, I mean source. I represent God. He's made his move. God has also told me whatever I do or whatever I say is an order. You know why that is? Because he lives inside of me, with me. Anyway, it gets a little deep because there are seven of us, but that's spiritually philosophical. That ain't where we want to be. This is a political situation. I mean, would you seek to deny me the same rights politically that each of your candidates have? Would you spread their message? And what would be my message? Is it one about Jesus? Is it one about God? No, it really hasn't been. You know why? Because I think that you already know. There's no need to beat a dead horse. See, you already know. No, it's been about the very issues that you simply don't want to entertain politically for one reason or the other. It's all political, just like I said. The, the spiritual connection to it being a whole lot more than coincidental. There's nothing anyone can do about it. You don't have to believe me, but trust me this much. I have looked every possible way out that you would have for the better part of 6 to 7 months. There is no way out of this. There is no way out. It's not. You've been locked in. I've been locked in. And unfortunately, everything that God said would become, you have became. That's just point blank. You have to understand, this isn't your world. It's not your grass. It's not your air. You're not even you. You don't belong to you. And as to me, I belong. And if there was no God, then there is no me. Or, in the alternative, I self-created. I made myself. Then that still would make, then that would still make me God above you. In terms of how you view power and how you view spirituality, that would be the standard. Yours, which is awfully shallow. But it would mean that I self-created. I made myself out of the ether, the unconscious, conscious, or the nothing that became the conscious, maybe through some form of universal, galactic, spiritual evolution. But that's not the case, and we both know it. So let's stick to the politics of the situation. Expect me to do what I do. I have an agenda. God has one. You have one. You have one. We all have agendas. I have not once tried to attack any of yours because they don't matter. Only ours matter. That's why we don't go after certain demographics, certain political stances and positions, because they don't matter. No matter what you do or what your stances are. And I hate to be so belittling. Goodness gracious, I don't mean to be belittling, but you have to understand this. It would just behoove you if you did. It would make things easier. There is no stopping it. There is no altering it. And there is no way out of it. It's only aggravating a already aggravated situation. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm Source. I'm Seven. I'm One.